Thank you, Mendy, and I'm really happy to be here once again. Thank you, everyone, for coming on board. Thank you for Expert Agile Club. I was here the last time where we discussed about OKR, and from what I got, the feedback and the response was really great. I want to appreciate everybody. But today, we're moving on. I've not come alone today. I've come with my team because we want it to be a practical section where we discuss on how to estimate stories. My committee of practice is called Greater Agile, and that's where we meet and help each other, and then we assist each other to grow. So that's part of my team that I'm bringing here today. So it's not all about me, just with my team. That's Team Greater Agile. So welcome everybody. Here we go. So it's just going to be a little bit of explanation, and I want to make some certain assumption here. Though I'll go a little bit granular. I want to assure at least that most of us will have experience of either Jira or Azure DevOps, and maybe working within team, or we've heard about teams. So I'll just take that assumption. I hope everyone can see my screen. I can confirm that.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Right, so here we go. So basically, we're discussing about estimation today, and it's we're using Planifoca, and estimation comes mainly at the tail end of the sprint planning for most teams. So though it could be different in some other team, but all teams I've worked with, that's how it's done. The sprint planning, which is divided into three: the why, the what, and the how. The why is supposedly when we bring the sprint goal, and the product owner tells, "Oh, okay, this is the sprint goal." Having gone through the backlog, we've gone refinement. It's even done every day or every time the product owner and the scrum master have a little time. They just continue to look at the product backlog to make sure it's up to date, it's refined, and then there's a general sprint backlog refinement, which is not readily stipulated in the Scrum guide, but it's very, very necessary so that everyone on the team understands what we are talking about. So that's why why this sprint viable? Why is it viable? What are we building in this sprint? Then the what is, what are the items that we are running to achieve this sprint goal? What are the associated items? For example, if we're developing a landing page, what are the stories that have been developed around that will make us to achieve that sprint goal of developing a landing page? So the stories have been worked on, and they've met. Supposedly, the team has a definition of ready. So we look at that, and then our items make definition of ready. Then the how is what we're going to talk about today, which is the later part of the sprint planning, which is the estimation. So how are we going to get this done? What is going to be the tools that we need, and the capacity, and everything that we need to get it done. So, and then that's estimation. Estimation is just like employing or asking for the wisdom of a team, and in this case, a Scrum team, to triangulate on an estimation for a work item. By triangulation, that means we all want to come together and have a sort of an agreement based on the knowledge of what we are working on. So everyone wants to come together, especially the developers, while the Scrum Master facilitate the developers, the PO, the product owner, and helps to explain what the stories are all about, and then the developers who are going to actively work on the story will go on to do the estimate with the guidance of the Scrum Master and the PO. And what do we estimate on? We estimate on story point. So what is story point? Story point is a unit of, for expressing an item of the overall effort required to fully implement a backlog item or any other piece of work. So for example, if we have had from the product backlog, which we know is a continuous emerging workload to be done during the lifetime of a product, items will now be pulled for the sprint backlog. So from the product backlog, the ones that are ready. So how do we give them continuous emerging? So how the unit of measure for each of the items that will be in the product backlog, then it's just an abstract measurement. It doesn't really mean anything, but it means something to each team. What story point means to this team might not be the same as that to the story point. So within a team, the team needs to understand what the story point is telling, what it is, and why it has been advocated that story point are better used than having hours. That's another story for another day. So, but here we're just using story point, and of very much important is that teams assign story points relative to work complexity, the amount of work and risks or uncertainty. This relative has been a major case for concern for teams that have worked on to assess. So I found out that this relative has been removed even from their estimation. Teams just normally want to go into the estimation and then just estimate work, but it's supposed to be relative. By relative, what do we mean? So you can say 5 and 3 on this side. This alpha has been set to be 3 and this 5. So the relative here is how do we arrive at 5 for this? So relative means there will be a baseline story. There will be a baseline item that we are comparing all other items that we are estimating on. For example, we say this apple has been given 3.
Tolulope?
Yes?
There's like some background noise that we're noticing. I don't know if your your mic is a little too close to your mouth or something. Everybody's noticing it. I was noticing it a little bit too.
Right. So I'm using mic.
Yeah, maybe it was a little too close.
Okay, let me change it. Sorry about that. Let me see.
Yeah.
And I will use.
It seems to be fine now. Maybe it was just a little, you had it a little too close to your mouth. I don't know. So everybody's saying that's better now. However you have it now is perfect.
What about now?
Yep, that is perfect. Yep.
All right. Sorry about that. Maybe it's supposed to close my mouth or what. Yeah, sorry.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So I was saying that story points are assigned relative to a known piece of work. But so the question now arises, what about if a team is just new and they don't have any story to baseline? Thank God for Scrum. Thank God for Agile. Yes, it's allowed to assume, it's allowed to make an informed guess and say, okay, we're starting on the 1st note. And so we all come together and agree that this story, we can give it this number of story points because Scrum is based on empiricism. The more we know about the story, the better understanding we have. The more we know about the work, the much understanding we have about it. So we are allowed. And then for a team that is already mature, they've gone through several sprints. I'm sure they have story that everyone is quite aware of. Everyone knows how this came about, why we assigned this number of story points to this, so they can use such as a baseline. But at the end of it all, what works for a team is what works for a team. It allows that for flexibility and then to carry on once we are delivering on our sprint goal, on our product goal, and the team velocity. And then my important one is the team happiness is constant, and we are all getting things done. Yeah, we can tweak things a bit, but from the book, it's relative estimation. We base our story point based on a known piece of work. Yeah, but all this, and what is story point? Story point comes as what will be needed, the risk that will be needed to get a story. The risk, it involves the risk, the complexity, the dependency, the amount of work to be done, and the business value. That's how we arrive at giving a story point to the particular work item. How risky is it to develop this piece of work? What is the complexity around the piece of work? Is this piece of work, is it depending on some other piece of work within the team or outside the team? And we know when it comes to dependency, if dependency is outside the team that we cannot control, there are other measures that we need to apply. If it's within the team that we can control, we know how to move things around. Maybe the item that the one we're about to work on is depending on, we might need to move it forward. It automatically becomes of high value too with this current sprint. Then the amount of work, which is relative, the amount of work so we can think that at the start of the work, we're going to do this amount of work. And then when we start to exploit more, find out that more will be needed on it. That's why giving it 2 hours, 3 hours may not be an ideal thing. Then the business value, what's the business saying we should develop now? What does the customer want? That's all. All of these and even many more are considered in arriving at story point. And today we're using Planning Poker to estimate our item. And Planning Poker is just a gamification method of estimation where cards are like played, but instead of the normal love, space, and what have you, we have numbers that have been developed by individuals, and the popular one is the Fibonacci sequence, which was also made, which was also refined by Mike Cohen also, yeah. And then that's what we normally use. So estimation in which terms come together to estimate how large or small the various items are. So, and to help me today on this, my team, we have Valerie, who's part of the developers. We have Blessing, Ismail, and myself, the Scrum Master. My PO is Emmanuel, and also I will have Abbas on the team. So what we intended to do was for us to do a role play, and then as we talk, but we consider that may take a lot of time. So what we eventually said to for was I will talk through, but they will join me in the actual planning, where I will just talk through with the request of my PO, who has granted me the is it the right, yes, to talk as the PO and as the Scrum Master. So I'll just talk through what happened because I've been in several meetings and I know quite a bit of what happened. So I'll just talk through, but they will join me in the actual estimate. So we are going to our demo now. Thank you. So for our demo, see 1 second, I'll just, can you still see my screen?
Yes, we
Hello?
can.
Yeah, okay. So this is our Jira instance for, we just had to do this new Jira. It's a free version 1, which take only 10% plan. So, and the product we're working on is called Expert Agile Demo, and this is our backlog. So we have our work item here, and so before the sprint planning, like I said, the sprint planning it's usually a 4 hour, 4 hours for 2-week sprint, and then 8 hours for 4-week sprint. So just assume we are doing that. So this estimation comes at the tail end, just as I've said, and this is our product backlog. So I, the Scrum Master, usually facilitate, and the PO will talk us through the, we have our story, we have our sprint goal, and then, so what my team have come up with is, for example, we know all these stories now, this is just a few. There are organizations that have over 30, 50, 80, as many as 80 story points. So you can imagine how long this line will be. How long this line will be, sorry about that. So what we normally advocate, or what we do in our team is, this is our Jira instance, there's a backlog, and then I usually open another, this create sprint. I usually open one like this, and I rename it PBIs ready for sprint. So I say PBI is ready for sprint, and I just update it. So that's open up for me. So that caters for us to separate the stories that have been refined, that are ready for sprint. So for example, if this payment confirmation, contact us on WhatsApp, maybe payment transfer, just picking at random, there's no other, and password, frequently asked question, the password is set. So for example, if all these are ready for sprint, that means they've been refined, and then they're ready for sprint. So we normally will put them in in this bucket like this. Then we now open another sprint panel for this, our current sprint that we're planning on. But this will not just be open now because it's just a fresh one. That's why I'm showing us this. So, but we'll have opened it, and then we carry on along to continually stay there. So we open a new sprint panel. Oh, sorry, no, cancel. We open a new sprint panel here, create another sprint. Then, so from here now, we can edit this sprint and call it our next sprint instead of ready for sprint. we call it sprint 2 or sprint, or I usually prefer giving it a name that gets stakeholders, maybe landing page. Please don't mind the naming convention. Maybe landing page may not be, or it may not be corresponding with the items we have here. This is just for a demo. So we said our sprint goal is to develop and test all landing page stories of PBIs, as it may be. PBIs is a product backlog item usually used in Azure DevOps, and Jira use stories. Let's use what Jira use, stories. So that's our sprint goal, to develop and test all landing page stories. Then we know we give it 2 weeks from now. So from 30th to May, no? Maybe from today's 18, maybe we'll start tomorrow, Friday. Normally, I encourage my team for us to do our sprint planning on Monday or latest Tuesday, because of so that we can people are refreshed when they just come from the weekend, and then to carry on maybe throughout the week. It's always so that's updated. Then you can as well move this up if you are a little bit, that there will not be confusion. So the one we are going to work with is now here. So the next sprint bucket is PBIs ready for sprint. Then these other ones are the PBIs that will continue to be generated as a product go on. This, as we know, the product backlog is never completed. It increases, decreases, it's gone like that till the product is fully developed, and even at that, there will be some other things that needed to be done. So here we have the backlog. Then here we know that anything that is here is ready for a sprint. But this is just one of the methods we can use. Some other team may not go with it, but this one, so that everybody sees it, we know that they're ready for sprint. So if this one's now, we're not taking 3 of these or 2 of them based on what our product owner has brought for the next, based on the sprint goal, the landing page. So we take all items prior to do that sprint. That's 3 or maybe 4. We left. We are left with 1. Does not mean this one that we are left with can tomorrow find itself going back here, and that doesn't mean that the items here are less valuable than this. So at any time, anything can change. So here we are ready to now do our story pointing. And then what I do is over here, I'll just click on this, and it says create planning poker. Create planning poker. But this planning poker did not just appear here. It's an add-on. It's part of it's a third-party tool provided for Jira. So to get it, you need to come to this app over here, click on this and say explore more apps, and then you type in what you want. Either you can go with the generic name planning or estimation, and it brings you other tools for estimation. You have so many tools, so you can pick on it. And it's for free version, it's free for 30 days. Thereafter, you may need to pay. But for enterprise version, I'm sure many people in using enterprise Jira, they do usually use it because they're quite expensive. It goes for as much as $450. So, but Planning Poker you can get Planning Poker even online, where your team can join in. Yeah, you can get Planning Poker online. It doesn't have to be Jira. But the little good thing about it is once you agree on the estimate at your planning section, it automatically sets it out for you. You can see this column, this is where it's coming to rest. So by the time we finish the planning, you see the story point appear here. But if you are using a tool that is external to Jira, then you need to come and manually impute it. Like for example, you have to come here and say story point, then you will now write it by yourself, but you don't want to do that. So I'll just now, this one, we click on this one, and I'll click on create planning poker game. So it opens that for me. And then these are the stories in this field type. And the game name is the same thing as the sprint goal, can make it the sprint goal, then estimation field. So we can have different estimation techniques. We can have the Fibonacci sequence, which is what we are using. We can also have shared sizing for team that know how to go about that, which is almost the same thing. It's just an arbitrary this thing to say how big or how complex the stories are. Then you can also have another one called labeled t-shirt. Then you can have hours for team that want to go by hours, which may not be. Then you can also have your own customized one. You can customize it for yourself, for your team, depending on how you work. But live have made easier for us. We just use the Fibonacci sequence and we say submit. So by the time we submit it, so we're going to start says join. So these are the items that we're working on this sprint. You can see them already. So at this point, I would like my team members to, if they're not yet on the Jira, please start to sign in so that we can quickly do our estimate. So you can see the items that are in the sprint here, and they become automatic like that. Or if there's another, you can also go stepwise if where you need you to write your JQL. If you go at your JQL, you write your JQL to call up the stories as like a filter. So thank you, Simon. So I can see those who are already joining. You can see my team member Valerie is joining, Serena is joining. So I see them. Yes, thank you, Blessing. Thank you, Kingsley. Thank you very much for joining in. So what happens now is I'll click on the first item to be estimated. So supposedly it shows up like this, and then supposedly by now we believe that everybody should have a good grasp of what this story entails. But if that not be, even at this point, the PO comes in to also explain what it entails to bring this story to definition of done. So once again, once everybody has understood the story, I open up like this. So I said, okay, my team, having understand the story, can the developers now vote? And based on what I've been explained and this baseline that we are basing our story on, for example, maybe our formal landing page, we know what it took us to develop that, maybe the 5 story point, 2, 3 story point. So based on that, we will now ask everybody to vote. So if quickly my team members can just vote so that we carry on. Right, so Everybody's voting. Right. Thank you. You can see, and so one thing we're trying to achieve here is a consensus for everybody to, that means if you have a consensus, that means supposedly we all understand the story equally. We all understand what it entails to develop this story and bring it to the definition of done. That is what we want to achieve here. But that may not always be the case. But as a team, what works within the team dynamics, we're able to know how we're able to go around that. So if, for example, for this story now, everyone has voted. So that's why the votes are, first of all, unanimous. Nobody sees who, so that nobody will be influenced because we'll be watching somebody's screen. And then if, for example, the person who's handling the screen is also going to vote, so he may have to vote last, because if I'm to vote now, everybody will see what I'm voting on. So I will now be the last person to vote if prioritization voted, but I'm the Scrum Master not voting in this regard. So my team members are finished voting. I will now say open card, and there we go. We have 3, 3, 3. So Blessing Oye on this time around has voted 5. So it's now, we will now ask Blessing. So what is it that you're saying about this story that the rest of us are not seeing? Because we cannot discontinuous what she has voted. Everyone has equal right, and everybody says the story is different way. The way I'm saying it is not the way you are saying it. Even after the PO has explained it to us, has broken it down, and then one thing again is every story brought into the sprint is supposed to be broken down to the extent that it can be fully developed, tested, and moved and gotten to the point to definition of done within a sprint. So we understand it differently. So we will just ask, okay, Blessing, why have you voted 5 on this occasion? Blessing will now say, I figured forgotten for this step, for this, we can do this because that was how we did it the last time. And she may be right. She may be able to convince everybody that, oh, that's true. We're thinking that the step 2 and 3 are not what we work on. So she will explain to us again. So having explained to us, we will now say, okay, let us vote again and see. Let us all vote again and see if all of us gets it. And then again, we may ask even one of the people that voted 3 that, okay, yeah, why did you, and somebody represent them, why did you people vote 3? I say, okay, it's because step 1 and 2, step 3 and 4 can be built in under so time. There's no much complexity about this. Also further explain to us so that everybody explaining. So we now vote again and see what we get. So if we can all vote, Olados has joined us also. Thank you for joining today. And she's the first to vote now. Please let me know how we're doing on time. Sorry, that's why.
You're still good on time. It is 12:35 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Okay, thank you very much. Right.
Scrum Master, isn't it still the same story? Payment confirmation email.
It's still the same story we're voting on, and yes, thank you. So I will reveal the cards now and see, and everybody has voted 3. So this is what the you say it's automatically put the 3 before. It didn't put the 3 here because there was no doubt concession. This is what planning poker won. This is what estimation is all about. That all of us. So with this now, it is assumed that we all understand the story equally. we'll all understand what it entails to bring this story, payment confirmation email. Payment confirmation email to the definition of done. So with that, we are good to go. That means at any point, anybody can work on this story with that understanding. So we just save the estimate and it automatically moves to the next story. That's open, that's password reset. Password reset. So quickly, the team will quickly vote on that again and see where we are. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Olaros. Thank you, Blessing. So we are waiting for Syrian and Kingsley. Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to review the cards now. And here we go again. We have 3, 3, 3, 3, 5. So once again, we asked, it's always like that. Yeah, we asked, is it Mr. or Mrs. 5? That, please, why have you voted 5? Not in an intimidating way, not in a way to say, no, you are doing the wrong thing. No, we just want to know the story. We just want to know why. We just want to know, and not putting the person down, not saying she has done the wrong thing because only he or him or her has voted 5 within everybody. No, she must have seen something that everyone is not seeing. Yeah, she must have, or maybe she's new on this thing and then she needed more explanation, which is that. So we'll now say, okay, let's replay and see if we arrive at a consensus. So let's quickly vote again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. 2 more people to go. Yes, 2 more people. Yeah, one person. And if not, we carry on just because of our time. So we open the cards and then basically this is what we won. And sorry, did I say replay? Let's just choose 3 for that. Can we just vote again? Sorry, I mistakenly pressed replay instead of, so we can go to the next story and then open cards 3 and then save estimate. Right, so basically, so what happens in a case, for example, okay, let's see this as it goes. Well, let's vote on this. Everybody quickly, please. So I was just trying to say, what happens in the case where we do not agree, there's no consensus, there's people are stuck to their gun, there's 3, there's 5, there's random numbers, and then we continue. So just like I said, so we make, there will be discussion where somebody will say, have you considered all necessary functions and not just individual specification? Have you seen that, okay, this story, this is what it entails? Then it's not just based on the opinion, but it's based on the value, on the relative estimate that we are estimating on. So all those other options will be considered. Let's open this and see now 3 and 5. So for example, we now continue to get 3 and 5. So it's now left for the team, because everything is about team. So the team dynamics is what works for the team. So do we now say, okay, because there's no average in, some people have suggested average, but here the suggested average is 3.7, but we don't have 3.7 figure in Fibonacci sequence. If we put 3.7 now, how do we get that? No. So we need to take a figure in the Fibonacci sequence. So it's either to be 3 or 5. There's no 4, So if you are using the Fibonacci sequence, you have to go with the Fibonacci sequence. And then, so as I was saying, the team dynamics now come to play. So we say, okay, should we just go for 4 or for 5? Because 5 encapsulate all other options. Makes it, if you go for 3 and it falls that, okay, the person who has taken 5 wants to work on the story, but we've given 3 story points. That means you will not be able to accommodate that. But having in mind that this is just an arbitrary number doesn't really mean much, but it means much to the individual teams. Outside the team, not because, for example, again, there's this this rule of thumb that within a sprint, you should not, each story that goes within a sprint should be 8 story point or less. When the story point is getting to 13, you need to further break it down. But if, for example, you now take on a story point of 13 in your sprint, and you're able to develop to get it to the definition of done. So will you now say that becomes the norm? So like it's just dynamics within the team, how we are cooperating, how we are communicating, and then also for our velocity also helps so that we can be able to determine an average velocity by which the team will now start to work upon, which will help us to sprint in, sprint out, to be able to develop, to be able to deliver on our sprint goal. So having said that, I'll just ask us if we can just take 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's replay and see. Let's replay. So please, my team, we still need you. Can we just vote this one? And then we run quickly so that we can quickly use Azure DevOps. So it's not all about Jira. It's just this aspect of Jira because it's quite much. If you want to know all about Jira, yes, that's what we want. So we have 3 and that's done. Then the last one comes automatically. If we can quickly vote. Okay, I'll just open the cards. There's 5, there's 3 again. So what do we do in this essence? Okay, we just go for 5 because we've not had 5 before, not because of our time. Or maybe do we do another replay and see? Okay, let's do another replay and give it, see whether we've come to a consensus. Right, 2 more to go. Olaros and Blessing, are you still there? Thank you. And I'm going to reveal the cards now. And we have this again. So team, we are stuck with this 3, 3, 5, 5. So are we going for 5 or you want us to vote again? Valerie?
Vote again, I'll still vote the same thing.
Did you hear that? So in this
I'll
case,
still vote 5 as well.
Because that's my understanding of the job, of the work done.
the team, they are sticking to their guns and they want, so to be on the safe side, I think we just go for 5 because 5 accommodates 3. If you go for 3 or anything less than 5, the people on 5 can be definitely they'll be part of those who will be developing it, and then they've told us that, look, for me this is risky, the complexity of this is compared to what we're basing our estimate on is 5. So we just go for 5. And then again, we monitor this over time. That is it working for us as a team? Is it working for us as a team? And if that is working for us, yes, we can continue to improve on it. So we're going for 5, and then we're going to save our estimate. And that's all done for now for this.
The reason I chose 5 was to accommodate testing also.
All right, thank you very much. So those are part of the reason to accommodate testing, to accommodate maybe some functionality that are not. Yes, thank you very much. So all our, you can see we've estimated on all our stories. So you just click on finish game. Now you just finish the game, and it says finish game. We are sure give us this, and then we have our trophy for finishing our game. So thank you, team. So we just go back. So we can see estimated story is 14. And these are the people that participated today. And we just go back to our board. Yeah, so we just go back to our product backlog. And here you can see the estimate starting 14, the whole year. So after all, this is the last piece of action in the sprint planning. So we're just going to start our sprint. So we click on this blue button and say start sprint if all the team agree. So we have our sprint name. We have our time from 17 to April 1st. We have our sprint goal, and it's telling us we have 11 working days. So if everything, everybody is agree with that, so we just start the sprint, and we click on this start, and that's our sprint board. So so various people working on various items, we start to carve out their task. For example, that's not part of what we're doing today. We finished for the story pointing. So the tester or the developer will come to create his own task and say developing, and then the tester 2 and then the UX okay. Is UI. So anybody working on it is designer. So that's so these are the subtasks that are created. Those are the things, those are the items that will now continue to move in progress. There's a way too that we can customize this board, but that's not part of the topic today. And then when all of them are done, the developer has developed, the UX as UX, and then the tester has tested, then the story can now be updated and be closed. So we are going to leave Jira at that. That's just what we have today. Thank you, everyone. So I'll quickly run to the other aspect of it, which is Azure DevOps. Hope we are still good on time. So for Azure DevOps, both tools, if you know how to use Jira, definitely when you get your hands on Azure DevOps, one way or the other, you'll be able to walk around with the experience you have with Jira. The same thing with you, if you know Azure DevOps, and then also Riley and version 1, they are commonly the same. So if you know one very well, or to a certain level, if you get your hands on the other one, you should be able. So, but that's what we teach in Greater Agile, how all these tools can effectively be used. So for Azure DevOps, this is our backlog. You can see backlog for those who have seen it before. I'm sorry if it's kind of rushed. I'm sure maybe some people have not used this before. It might look a little bit confusing. I don't know how to go about that, except because yeah, just you can just get your hands on, or can maybe contact me later if you want um, um, some training. Yeah. So this is the backlog for. Also, we have created a project. You can see this is our one that we use in our industry, and we're working on different products that will soon be going live. So this is a project that we've created for this particular purpose, and then we go to the backlog, and then these are the backlog items that have been created to work with here. So for just the same way, all the other aspects of sprint planning we carried out. It's just the estimation that is different. Not the estimation, the tools that are different, but the same way they are done in Jira, it's done in Azure DevOps. So for Azure DevOps, we are the backlog now, and then so we say the tax or the tickets. This call it PBI here. They're called PBI. They move from Epic to feature to PBI. PBI is the same thing as story in Jira. So these are the PBIs for this. So for you can see the sprint bucket are open there. We have sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. Sprint 1 has been dated for us, which is excuse me, please. Sprint 1 is starting on the 16th and is finishing on the 21st, which is 4 sprint. So in Azure DevOps, what we do is we click and drag. So you drag the items that you have refined. So you have refined and they're ready to go for a sprint. You drag them into the sprint. That's one. That's the second one. That's the third one. That's the fourth one. So when you've done that, you now go to estimate. Once again, to get this estimate doesn't come readily with Azure DevOps. You need to go to what we call Azure Marketplace. So just click on this bag-like icon and say browse market. So in the market, you also, if you know that you're looking for estimate, you type your estimate, and then so various tools for estimation come. You click on the one that you want, and then you install it, and then you use it for your estimation. So that's how that one is got here. So you click on, haven't opened the sprint bucket, and then we'll do that. Sorry. So you click on this estimate, and if you click on the estimate, you now create a new session, maybe title, let's title it landing page as well, just to go with the flow, landing page, and it's done online. And my team, please start to log in as well. Again, thank you for holding forth. And we are working on, it's a sprint, and my team is expert Agile demo team, and our sprint is sprint 1. Again, here we have a choice of cards that we can use. So we have so many. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 of them. We have teacher sizing as well. We have Fibonacci sequence one. We have some other custom made one, but this is one we normally use. It is Fibonacci sequence. So we click on this. So it gives us that Fibonacci sequence, and then I'll create the section again. So create, and then I will now click on, once it's created, it appears here. I will now click on this landing page, which is the title of, and then our ticket to be estimated will appear here. So what we now do is, again, we click on each one, they open up for us, and my teams have decided to log in. I can see Casey is logged in. So we now start to vote again, just the way we voted in Jira. So I don't want us to waste a lot of time here, because it's almost the same process, just different tools. If Kingsley is ready, she can just vote, and then we carry on. Okay, anyone that is on it can just vote, please. Thank you. Right, so please just vote, so that because of time, we don't. Yeah, so you can see, again, vote are not shown, they are unanimous, so that, for example, again, while it's unanimous, we don't want anybody to be influenced by anybody. We are seeing in some team, when the lead QA or the lead developer votes, every other developer tend to follow the vote of the QA when we are in physical meeting. So to avoid that, the votes are not shown. Everybody votes unanimously, and then we all reveal the vote afterwards. It's going to reveal now, and then, like, again, we have 5, 3, 3. It's like my people, they really like 5 and 3, which is good. And then, just because of our time, we go for 5. I believe we've explained the dynamics that can happen to get us to vote, to have the same vote. Basically, as it's open here, the PO comes in again and say, okay, got the story. This is what this is, given when, and all this. How can you develop this? When can you? What are the technicalities in this compared to the ones we've done before? Everybody look at it back and front, the UX, UI, the tester, everybody. So based on that, we now vote. So let us assume it's 5 here. We say, if that's save, it goes. It doesn't want to be saved. So this next one, let's see. Can we vote for the next one as well? Thank you, Blessing. Thank you. Maybe because we already have 3 as the estimate there. So we just review. So we have 3, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. Just because of our time, we don't want to go back and forth again to arrive at uniformity. So we just take the upper limit, which is 5, and it's saved. You can see it there. It jumps straight to the next one, which is this. Just keep on voting, guys. Your votes will not be rigged. Thank you. Somebody has been raising up their hand, but I think this just said that you can leave questions till the end of the meeting, unless maybe you're not hearing. Suleiman is raising up his hand. Okay, we just reveal. Huh? Every time, somebody that, okay, we go for 5 again. Yeah, so the next one again, which I'll vote this time around. Right. Valerie, vote. Blessing, can't see your vote yet. Emmanuel, please, our PO. Everybody. Yes. So we just review and almost there. There's still a five person. Okay, we just go for 5 here because of our time, and then we save. So that's, in this case now, all done. We now just say leave session. You can leave it or you can end the session entirely. Somebody's painting my, thank you for painting our board. So the difference between Jira and Azure DevOps now is that, okay, they have the backlog bucket, the sprint now opens. By the time you come to sprint, so all our items, this is our sprint panel or sprint bucket. So that's how we run with it. So all the items that we just voted on are here now within the sprint. So although there are many, then I mean, talk about the sprint capacity, the team capacity, talk about velocity, but that's not within this content, maybe another time. So payment using bank transfer, bidding. So on that one again, so this will be left here. Then each person that wants to work on the ticket will come and say, okay, development, and then we come to testing. Come to passing, just depend on the tasks that are being run. So here, it's now this ticket that we can say, okay, for the testing, I can do this under 2 hours. I can do this under 3 hours. That's for the single task, not for the whole ticket as such. Can come here again under, okay, for this, I can develop this within 5 hours. Then I can do this within 2 hours. So all of this now sum up to come our efforts here, which is 5. When this is going, this is going, this is going, then when everything is done like that, and this ticket can now be closed and say done. So that means that one is done. So also all that ones till the end of the sprint, while we continue to see our sprint goal. This sprint goal is, our burn down chart. Burn down chart is rather looking funny because people are playing on the. So we can monitor our burn down chart as yes, everybody, especially the Scrum Master, needs to monitor that, but everybody can also, while teams are working. And as we know, we have maturing team and we have mature team. So for the maturing team, the Scrum Master needs to be very active, to be on his toe, helping them. But for mature team, they just run with the tasks, and everybody just once the tasks are once the tickets are lined up, they even for maturing team, maybe we now need to assign this one to somebody, assign this one to Valerie, assign this one to Emmanuel. Emmanuel has taken that one. Christy has done this one. Maybe on this ticket too, we say, okay, somebody monitor the whole of this ticket. But for a mature team that already know, they just put the tickets there and everybody comes to pick and then they run with it. And within the sprint, 2 weeks, and this thing, all tickets have been done. But it's not do or die that you must finish all the tickets. But as much as you have said you will do, which is, it's good to finish the ticket, but if you don't, life does not end. So at this point, I want to say thank you, and hope I was not too fast in that. And if there's any question, I want to Mandy. Thank you for coming in and listening to this session today.
I do believe that Solomon has a question. His hand is up, so please feel free to unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Tolu. Yeah, I was
Hi.
going to ask, before you do the estimation voting in the poker card that you were using,
Yeah.
do you now review like what each number represents? Just for instance, like let me say I walk up into a new establishment and my
Okay.
team we're gonna vote. So can I now ask like what each number represents before voting? Because I
Yeah.
cannot
So
vote without knowing what the numbers represent. If
yeah.
you know.
So thank you very much for that question. So like I said, they are just arbitrary numbers. They are not really. They don't represent anything outside the team. But within the team, it's just like the slide said. They represent how complex the item we're working on, how risky, and the business value that we're placing on it. That's how we arrive at the story point and the amount of work that will be done on the story. So they don't really represent anything. But I've seen I've worked with an organization where they now say 2 story point equals to 2 hours. They say 1 story point is 30 minutes, 2 story point. That again can become cumbersome at some point. So what about if this story point that you said is 2 hours today, then tomorrow somebody else we estimate that story point the same to be 2, and you say it's 2 hours, and the person did not finish it under that 2 hours. Does that mean the person has failed? So we don't want to box ourselves and say that's by time. The story point takes it encompasses all. It takes in the time, takes in the risk, takes in everything, and it allows for flexibility. But and again, the Scrum Master and the team needs to watch it that they're not just giving bogus estimation. So, but at some point again, if a team has been together for a good time, those story points cannot converge to a range of time. You now say, okay, we know that anytime we are working on landing page tickets relating to signing, we've been doing it for 30 story point, and 30 story point has always been like 1 hour for us. So we cannot assume that, okay, anytime we have this kind of thing, we can assume that we can do it within a range. And even at that, you don't just say 3 hours, 2 hours, a range maybe can I say between 1 to 5 hours. That's when over time, the team has been able to monitor, have been able to establish a consistency with those kind of tickets. They've been working on those kind of sprint in, sprint out. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much. No problem. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Tunji, your hand is up.
All right, thank you. Thank you. My question is, after the team already has a team velocity, so let's say the team velocity is 20 for each sprint, and while estimating the story points, your story points, cumulative story points is, let's say, 24. Do you move 4 story points to the next backlog, or what do you do? Thank you.
Yeah, so again, team dynamics comes into play, where so how did you arrive at 24 story points in the first instance? That maybe maybe you took on more than what you're supposed to take into the sprint, and the sprint are not even started. So it depends on what the team now agrees on. So should we go for this? Should we go for the extra 4? Do you have the capacity to work on it, that we will not be burnt out? Or if it's something that we can look through, maybe break one story, or even take a story back to the backlog. Yes, anything can happen within this thing, but we are looking at the sprint goal and the sprint goal and the product goal. Everything. So there needs to be a discussion there that will favor the team and that will favor the the product. I usually tell my team, I want a happy team. An happy team means a happy product. A happy team means an happy increment. If your team, they are fatigued, if they are burnt out, find out that there will be a lot of technical depth, there'll be a lot of things that will just scale through. But if they are motivated, they are not working beyond their capacity, find out that the turnover will be faster than you taking on so many at some point, and then towards the end you are broken down. So they will have to come to an agreement. So and as we know, Scrum is all about continuous improvement, continuous learning. If we take it on today, we take on the 24 and find out that at the end of it we couldn't do it. So next time that will be a no-no for everybody. So we now have a historical data that you remember when we did this is what happened. So better go for less than to go for more. And if they're able to scale through again, yes, that can also boost the morale of the team that we took on extra story point and we were able to deliver. Thank you.
We did get a couple questions in the LinkedIn Live about, will you be sharing the presentation with us? The
Okay,
slide.
You mean this slide? Okay, I will share this slide, but I will take off this one. Is that okay?
Yep, that is perfectly fine. So to answer everybody's questions, yes, and I will drop my email in the chat. So if you guys do want the slides, you can email me or my LinkedIn. You can connect either way with me, and just shoot me an email or message on LinkedIn, and I will, once I get them, I will send them to you guys.
All right.
Thank you. And it looks like Mike might have a question.
So thank you. I think Tanji was first.
No, Mike, you can go ahead after you.
Okay, thank you. Tola, thanks for your presentation.
Thank you.
One thing you said early on, which I think relates to Mohammed's question, is around the points. So when we've got 3 points or 5 points, you talked about having some reference stories so that we can have relative estimation. And I think that's an important thing. So when people were estimating 3 or 5 points, I think what was going on in their heads was they were kind of thinking, okay, previously we've done some stories, some of which were 3 points, some 5, some 8, some 1. Does the story that we're currently doing, does it look more like a 3-point story or an 8-point story or a 1-point story? And I think that was missing. I wonder if you want to just talk us through that a little bit.
So I didn't get the question.
I just wanted to know whether you wanted to talk through the point of relative estimation.
Yeah, relative estimation. I said that, so for a team that is just maybe starting off, may not have anything to have like a baseline, but for a story that has been done before, so they are allowed to like have a guess around what they are trying to estimate. But for a team that's already done that have worked on some item, so they will want to base their story pointing on what they know about that kind of story that we are estimating right now. For example, if you are estimating on landing page and maybe signing, and we've already done something relating to signing before, so we say, okay, based on what we know about signing in, so how, maybe for the last time we gave signing 5 story point. So based on that, how do you estimate on this new work item for different websites, for a different site, of this landing page, or maybe, but technically there may be some other inputs here and there, but on relatively based on what we know about the item we worked on before, how do we estimate this?
Yeah, so I think the critical question there is if we've done 2 stories beforehand, and we know one's a 3-point and one's a 5-point, for example, then we look at the story that we're doing at the moment and we say, is this more like the 3-point story in terms of size, complexity, duration, or is it more like the 5-point story? And that's what's going on in people's heads when they do relative estimation. Would you agree?
Yes, that's what's going on. But with the help of the PO trying to expand, to break the new story down, that is what it entails. Maybe we also have a BA on the team that's written the story. Right? We try to break it down, say, okay, this what this one entails, maybe a little bit different from here, but that's definitely, that's why we said at the end of the day, it's still, it's not accurate, it's just an arbitrary number that helps the team, but it takes in the time and everything. Rather than saying you must do this under 3 hours, the story point is just story point, but basically you are able to finish it within the sprint. And if not, life does not come to an end. We see why that happened, and then we're able to adjust. Yes, but you are right. That's what goes through people. Okay, based on this, this other one 3 story point, that one's 5 story point. I will just go for this 5 story point. So, but as the team gets matured, we try to look at the line by line grain. That's why we usually have advocate backlog refinement, where we put in the necessary items, things that are missing, so that we get history to the division of ready. And I usually work with the product owner to make sure that even on a daily basis, we look at the story, if anything has changed, if you have gotten more to add to it, to make it even more understandable for the team.
That's great. Do you mind if I ask you a second question?
Sorry?
Can I ask you a second question?
by all means, do, please.
Thank you. So velocity is sort of the total number of story points that we can do in a sprint. What happens if mid-sprint we find that a story actually is a lot bigger or a lot smaller than what we predicted? What would you suggest is the process? Do we change story points?
If we find out, okay, for the same story is now bigger than what we suspected, did you say?
So if we've got 40 points in total as our velocity, okay, and we suddenly look at one of the stories which we thought was a 2-pointer, and we suddenly realize, wow, actually we got this totally wrong. This is 8 points. It means that we're now going to have much more story points than we have capacity in our velocity for the sprint. And so do we re-estimate at that point? Does it mean that we take some stories out? What do we do?
Yeah, so that's when the sprint has already commenced. Do you mean? You mean when we've already gone into sprint, we now realize that, oh.
Yeah, when, let's say we're midway through a sprint, yes.
Yeah. Of course, I have something like that here. So for example, before we thought it was going to be like this, and then later during the sprint, maybe it became smaller or it became bigger. Again, what I always suggest is that the team comes together and we look at it. What's the priority of the story we're talking about? Is it the one that must be done within this sprint? And if not, so what can we do about it? Do we have the capacity to carry on that will not be fatigued? And if not, can we leave this and then take out some other story points? So it has to be a discussion between Shelley, the PO and the developer, and then facilitated by the Scrum Master to arrive at a workable decision that will help the team, and also our sprint goal and our product goal. If we remove the story, does it affect, does it make our sprint goal obsolete? So there are many factors that we need to consider before we now make a final decision. And yes, it can happen because it's all about learning process. We learn more as we know more about the what we are working on, and then does not mean that, oh, that's going to be the end. So we just come together as a team. What's the way forward? How important is the story? If it's so important that it must go within this sprint, are there other stories that we can remove, or do we break this down and turn it? Yeah, so many things that can involve there, depending on the working agreement of the team. And if at the end they decide to take it off, I don't think there's anything that totally go against that once the team has agreed. So, but for next time, that will not be discussed in the retro. Why that happened, what happened, so that we mitigate against it for it happening next time and the next time again.
I think that's a good answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please.
That was brilliant, actually, Tolu. That was wonderful. Again, you can renegotiate to prioritize. Prioritization is very, very key, because when you look at a story that is either too small or too big mid-sprint, right? At the end of the day, I'm always thinking it's the value. It's not really a pack of stories. Is it not a pack of cards? It's just what exactly is the end goal, which is what a feature, right? So at the end of the day, if there's anything distorting it, you bring it out and look at it. Exactly, renegotiate. Do we really need it? If we remove it, can we reprioritize the other items in the backlog, right? Because at the end of the day, you want your feature or you want to actualize your sprint goal. So, basically that's just it.
Thank you very much for that addition, Valerie.
Okay, I'll just come back to Valerie. Valerie, that's a very valid point. Valerie, do you know the invest mnemonic?
Yes, I do.
So that's exactly what part of the N for negotiation is all about.
Thank you. Yes.
Fantastic point. Well done.
Yes, and then of course, in that renegotiation, it still falls on the PO, like Tolu said, because value is key for the business, right? And
Yes.
Value is there, in the thingy. So when you look at the story and you say, look, if we remove it, what do we have? What can we prioritize? And what is of value? Instead of really focusing on stories and cards, right? Because sometimes we have to look at the overarching goal. So yes, thank you very much, Mike. That got me thinking.
Do you think that we should, instead of using story points, which is a cost-centered view of stories, we should rather use value points, which is the value that we're delivering to our customers?
Okay, then Tolu, maybe you go there, because I feel value is what's that word? It's when you say something is subjective, depending on what the stakeholders want. So Tolu, over to you, please.
Yeah, so basically, we're just following through with what has been laid down. So at the end of the day, when somebody, as I said, story points are just arbitrary number that the team works with. The bottom line of everything is the value, the sprint goal, and the product goal. So how are we achieving those values? Because naturally, the management, the organization, they don't come to ask you for your sprint goal, for your velocity, for your how many stories did you take. They just want at the end of the sprint or at the end of what the timeline that you've created, that what you said, if you said this laptop will be ready for 3 weeks, so the next 3 weeks, they want to set the laptop. But all the story point and what have been is for the team to have a dynamic, to have a working pattern, to have a smooth coordination, that we don't just want to be all over the place. That's what all those kind of velocity, sprint goal, and velocity, story point, and some other metrics. They help guide the team and to keep them so that we're not burnt out and we're not performing. That's what I believe. So it's just the nomenclature. At the bottom of it, the pro owner is the value optimizer. That's what it's all about, value. Anything that we said, the sprint goal, this thing is about achieving the value, the increment. Is it shippable? Are we ready? Is it the technical depth that goes with it? How are we able to reduce that? Is it of high quality value? The sprint goal, the story point is just to help the team, but the focus is value that we are creating. Thank you.
Thank you, Tolulope.